Are you an expat? Here's how you're getting played by the Aussie property myths. That's right, my fellow expats, either you're in America, New Zealand, or whatever country you've been DMing me from. Like, I've been getting a lot of DMs, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and also my TikToks. Hey Q, how do I buy property in Australia as an expat? Because I often hear you guys say to me, hey Q, buying property in Australia while living overseas is too hard. I can't be bothered, bro. But let me tell you what's hard, expats. What's hard is waking up in Singapore, Dubai, or London, or wherever you are, and checking RP Data, which is a company that helps bank put a valuation on a property, and realizing the house that you should have bought in Brisbane or in Sydney made more capital growth in the last year than you did in your full-time job overseas. The truth is, guys, most Aussie expats aren't failing because they're overseas. They're failing because they're buying blind, structuring badly, or still believing in those fairy tale myths that expats can't borrow money in Australia. So expats that are watching this video, stay tuned, because if you've got an Aussie citizenship, a foreign income, and also FOMO, listen up guys, because I'm going to show you how to stop acting like a tourist and start investing like a local. So today guys, in this episode of That Property Roast, we're breaking down the common expat traps and how banks and taxes and red tape quietly sabotage your Aussie portfolio. And also we're going to look at the lending mistakes that expats keep making, for example, income shading, tax mix matches, and FIRB confusion. Also on top of that, what a well-structured expat investment actually looks like. And just like always guys, real-world client examples. That includes wins and horror stories. And also in that mix, we're also going to look at why most expats overinvest in shares. In this video today, guys, I'm going to give you an 11-step blueprint to build your investment property portfolio while you're living abroad. Plus, if you stay to the end of this video, I'll show you the banks that are very expat friendly and also the ones which treat you like a risky outsider. So yeah guys, whether you're living in Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, LA, or in the high temples of the Tibetan Himalayas, this video is for you. So firstly guys, let's look at the most common expat property mistakes. The number one most common mistake, you're thinking you're a local. That's right guys, most Aussie expats, they assume their passport means easy access to lending, tax breaks, and CGT discounts. But let me tell you guys, the second you leave Australian soil, the rules change. Like I'm telling you guys, firstly, the banks will shade your foreign income by 20 to 40%. And for example, you're living overseas and you have a non-Australian citizen wife. For example, you're in America and you have an American wife. The non-resident spouse, if you're using her for income or she wants to buy that property with you, that will trigger FIRB fees. Stands for Foreign Investment Review Board. That's right, guys. You need to consider FIRB fees. And also on top of that, you may also lose CGT discounts and face land tax surcharges. Just to quote Sally Tyndall from Rate City, she says, quote, expats often face tighter borrowing rules and unexpected tax liabilities that residents don't even think about, end quote. But then to tap into the opportunity of buying property as an expat, Narada Conosby from Ray White says, quote, Australian expats can still access major lenders and quality property, but they need a smarter, data-backed approach, end quote. Now here comes a bit of bank insight that I can share with you as a mortgage broker with 15 years experience of working with expats. Among the big four, ANZ and CBA tend to be more consistent with expat income. And for Aussie expats that are living in Asia, HSBC is especially good for them. And then we have second tier lenders like Macquarie and non-bank lenders. They sometimes can offer a little bit more flexibility on income shading and currency treatments. And this is particularly true for some clients that are in Singapore, UAE, and Hong Kong. So guys, this comes to my take, right? I think the Aussie flag, it helps you vote. But in the real essence, it doesn't really help you borrow. So you really got to do your plan and structure it like a pro or stay a tourist. Secondly, guys, in this video, we're going to look at how expats get burned by banks, FIRB, and tax laws. Currently, in terms of banks that we're using, they're currently assessing expat income using the Australian tax rates. Even if you live in a low tax country at the moment, for example, Singapore. And what most banks will do, they will shade your foreign income currency up to 40%. However, I do have banks that will do only for 20%. But say you got over the expat income barrier, right? If you added a partner that is a non-Australian citizen or a non-PR, which is permanent resident, the next hurdle is you'll probably trigger FIRB fees, stamp duty surcharges, and also land tax surcharges. And if you're watching this video and crossing your hands and thinking, what else can they tax us on? Heard about CGT? And that 50% CGT discount when you buy as an investor? That's right, guys. That's also gone. And to also pour more extra fuel to existing fire, the 6-year main residence exemption, the 6-year CGT rule, that's also gone too. Kaboof. So right now, guys, let me tell you a client story, right? A case study at the moment. We have Priya and Dan. Obviously not their real names, but real case studies, but I'm tidying their names for privacy purposes. These guys are based in Hong Kong. They earn a combined income of $620,000. That's correct. Big ballers in the industry at the moment. This couple over here last year bought an off-the-plan unit in South Bank for $790,000. Because Priya, which is Dan's spouse, she's not a PR or Australian citizen, this couple copped a $32,000 fee in FIRB. Now, had they known this earlier before speaking to me or either watching my videos and then known about me, I would have advised them, but not financial advice, to just buy in Dan's name. Like, we literally didn't need her income. And as of 2 months ago, it settled in May, the valuation of this off-the-plan property is now valued at $745,000. So that's the danger, guys. They bought it for $790,000, pay the FIRB fee, which they didn't need to, and now it's valued at $745,000. This power couple here was underwater from day one. So what's the lesson you can learn from here, guys, right? Number one, no team, no tax advice, and no structure. Obviously, I don't give advice, but I can connect you with my buyer's agent that will find the right property, and also my accountant and financial planners that are very well versed with FIRB and expat rulings to give the proper advice to avoid that new mistake. Thirdly, guys, in this video, we're going to look at why shares are overrated for expats. Like, a lot of expats nowadays think, oh my god, property is so complicated, I'm just going to buy shares. But let's unpack this popular bit of advice. You guys heard it before, right? You hear these investor share gurus on IG or LinkedIn or even TikTok, and they say something like, oh, quote, just invest in shares. They're safer, more liquid, easier to manage overseas, end quote. But then, guys, here's what they're not saying. You can't leverage shares. Like, for example, a boring ETF portfolio that returns 7 to 9% per annum. If you compare that to a strategically leveraged property portfolio, which will return between 12 to 15%, which one over here is the winning strategy? I'll let you think about that. For example, guys, there's a client case study. We have a client here. Her name is Lynn. She's 37 years old. She's a tech entrepreneur in Dubai, right? Her income is $320,000 in AED, in Australian currency, right? If you convert it to Australian currency, it's $320,000. In 2023, when she contacted me through TikTok, with the help of the holistic lending, for example, the pre-approval, and then pairing her up with a buyer's agent, which is well versed in the Queensland market, she bought a 2-bedroom townhouse in inner Brisbane for $765,000. What we got her was an interest-only loan with offset accounts, and we got her up to 80% LVR. In June 2025, which is just last month, it got valued for $860,000. And at the moment, the rental is $620 a week. That equals $32,000 per annum. If you do the maths, very simple maths, the total return is $95,000 capital plus $12,000 net yield. If you analyze all that and compare that to shares, that's a 14% annualized return. So based on this example and many other examples that I can also quote, feeding of a very savvy finance author, Stephen Mority, from Low Rate High Returns, he says that, quote, property's biggest strength is leverage. Borrowing safely is the only way to outperform inflation long term, end quote. So for my peeps out there who have watched us far, this is my take. And of course, it's biased. I'm a mortgage broker. I get commission when I do loans. But this is what I do in my own life. I think that shares are for people who love spreadsheets. And property, for people like me, is for people who want to build wealth while they sleep. And yes, I'm unashamed. I love property. I like doing finance for property. I get paid when I do finance for property. But hey, I don't charge you commission. The bank pays me commission, and I give you my high-value expertise without costing you a cent. What more can you ask? Anyway, let's move to the fourth part of the video. How smart expats are actually structuring their purchases. I'm telling you guys, right? Good expats don't just buy the right property. They set up the whole thing like a business. For example, most of my expat clients, they use things like split loan setups. We help them isolate deductible debt. Obviously, if they're overseas, it's deductible, but then it's different when it comes to Australian taxation. We help them with interest only to boost cash flow flexibility. We often offsets, not redraws, because offset accounts maintain tax deductibility. And on top of all that, we give them the choice of different structures. For example, buy in solo, buy in trust structures. And this all depends on your spouse's residency if you're like not single or solo. And also within this mix of strategies, we look at valuation clauses, FIRB approvals, and whether it's best to buy under your name or joint named if your spouse doesn't have a Australian citizenship. Now, this leads into the fifth part of the video, which I promised you, the 11-step blueprint for expats to start their property investment journey in Australia. Number one, most important, get a proof of concept. Get a bloody pre-approval letter from the bank or the broker. It doesn't need to be me. It could be anyone else, but get a proof of concept. At least you know you got finance before you put in the offer for that property. Number two, guys, is remember that your income gets shaded. Make sure before you tell the lender what your income is, that you correctly set this up properly. For example, you might be self-employed, or for example, you might work with an employer that pays you differently. You need to start planning for the tax conversion before you apply and give that information to the lender. Especially if you're going direct with the bank, they can't unsee what you tell them. Number three, guys, you need to check FIRB approvals and state-based land tax surcharges and stamp duty surcharges, especially if you're buying with a spouse. Number four, guys, check if the loan product has an offset account and whether it's best to use an offset account versus a redraw account. And number five, guys, on the list, always work with an Aussie buyer's agent and solicitor. And I know you guys might be thinking, hey, I know Australia like the back of my palm. But let me tell you, dude or dudette, you're not in Australia. You were probably in Australia like 5 years ago. A lot has changed, dude. And number six, guys, always buy A-grade locations, not oversupplied high-rise hotspots. And if you don't know how to do that, connect with a buyer's agent. And number seven, guys, always check on the suburbs vacancy rates. Another way to suss out a suburb's potential is to look at the wage data and always filter the suburb with upcoming infrastructure or already built infrastructure. And that is very easy to check. You just go to Australian Bureau of Statistics and you can get that data for free. And number eight on the list, always do a full building plus pest inspection. Even right now, you're remotely overseas, you need to hire someone to do that for you. Don't be cheap and not pay for that because you do not want to buy a lemon. And number nine, guys, always have a cooling off period for you to do the valuation, for you to do your due diligence, for example, building pests, and even a strata or land title search. And number 10, guys, always hire a professional property manager to look after that property for you. Like I had a client in Lebanon, right? He hired his cousin to look after his properties. And right now, he doesn't know where his cousin is, and he doesn't know what the hell's happening to his properties. Guys, I'm telling you, if you're an expat buying overseas, act like a pro, not like an amateur noob like Omar in Lebanon. And the last step, which is the 11th tip, always lodge your Australian tax returns annually. Because right now, you're going to get rental income that is getting paid to you. Even if your spouse is a non-resident, you need to lodge an Australian tax return. If you're in doubt, speak to your accountant. So yeah, guys, these are my tips. This is my final take. Distance for expats isn't the problem. But do you know what is? It's ignorance, guys. Because right now, this is the real roast, right? The mobs in Canberra, they say to the media they want more housing. However, on the back end, they tax the crap out of expats. And while all this is happening, you have these share influencers saying, oh, just buy ETFs. But then secretly, they contacted me while I'm helping them flipping townhouses in Balmain. According to Tim Lawless from RP Data Core Logic, he says it perfectly. He said, quote, housing policy and lending framework for expats are full of contradictions. You really need expert help to navigate it, end quote. Because at the end of the day, guys, if you take anything from this video, if you're getting your property investment advice from Reddit threads or property forums, or maybe some Aussie bloke with a ring light, I'm not talking about me, by the way. I'm telling you guys, even roasting me myself, take it with a grain of salt. Do your due diligence. Because when you don't do that and you jump into the hype of buying shares or even property, you're not investing, guys. You're actually playing Russian roulette with your money. So yeah, guys, if you're overseas right now and you're earning big money and you're watching this video and you're like, hey, Q, that kind of makes sense. I suggest for you to either book a 15-minute strategy call or a 60-minute deep dive with me. All my calls are online, either through Zoom, if it's a 60-minute strategy call, or I can call you through WhatsApp if it's a 15-minute strategy call. Whatever it is, guys, I want you to do your due diligence, get some independent advice, speak to my accountant, speak to my financial planners, and speak to my respected independent buyer's agent for you to build an A-game property portfolio to end a generational curse in your family, even if your family is overseas. Anyway, guys, if you're not ready, just hit the like button, hit the follow button if you like more videos like this, and most importantly, smash the share button, share this video to your mates or your overseas mates, because remember, guys, knowledge is power, and I want you to have the power to end the generational poverty curse in your family. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next episode of That Property Roast.